So moving forward, one of the big drawings that an interior designer draws in AutoCAD is a floor plan. So let's start learning how to draw one of those while we get familiar with lines. So we're going to start by drawing a 10-foot by 10-foot room. That's the basic room size. So if you have no idea how big a room should be, always kind of start with 10 by 10. Now to start drawing, we first need to select the appropriate layer to draw with. So the layer that we are currently in is layer 0. Layer 0 is just there for kind of like a temporary quick drawing. But when we're working with floor plans and architects and other designers, we have to have all things that we draw associated with a layer. So if we're going to start drawing this room, we're going to start with the walls. To assign a layer to your drawing, we're going to go up here to the Home tab under the Layers panel, and we're going to click on this little scroll bar right here. And we're going to see that there's all kinds of layers in here, and if we're going to start working with a wall, then we find a wall, and currently that color is yellow. So I'm going to click on a wall, and you'll notice that it's located up in the scroll bar now instead of layer 0. Again, layer 0 is a default layer that you rarely ever draw with. It's just kind of there if you need to do a quick something not associated to an object. But anytime that you are drawing an object, you need to assign a layer to that particular object. So always start by assigning the layer first, so that then when you start drawing, you're actually drawing in color. Woohoo! And we like drawing with colors, right? Alright, we're going to do a 10-foot by 10-foot room. So that means that the interior of this room is 10 foot wide and 10 foot long on the inside. So that's where we're always going to start drawing. So I'm going to choose line, and remember, to the right of the green, to the above the red, I always start kind of in this corner right here, and I go up. I kind of go in a clockwise motion. So click to start, and I want a 10-foot wall, side of the wall actually, so 10 apostrophe, enter. Going to the right, make sure I've got polar tracking, 10 apostrophe, enter. Look at that yellow wall, it's so cool. Now I could get object tracking activated and kind of come over here and snap it that way, or you could just type 10 foot again. Either way works. There's no right or wrong. Click and then end the square. Beautiful. You did such a good job. Look at that. We have the inside of a room now. So I'm going to right click and hit enter, and I have completed my first interior wall. Woohoo! But with floor plans, it's really important to understand that walls in a floor plan show their thickness. So the thickness of a wall can vary, and I'm going to go into why that is and what the thicknesses all are in a future video. But for now, the general rule of thumb is that all interior walls are drawn to show a 5-inch thickness. So the best way to give an object thickness is to offset the line. Offset. That is a command button that is used to modify objects, and that's located in the Modify panel under the Home tab of the ribbon. And the Offset command button is located at the very bottom right-hand corner of that panel. And if you hover your mouse, you can kind of see that it's giving you instructions on how to do it. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to click on the button first actually, and so you'll see that your cursor changes and it says specify offset distance. So that's where you can tell it how far you want to copy one of these lines and place a copy away from it. So I'm going to hit 5 inches. Since our thicknesses are supposed to be 5 inches, hit 5. And, you know, I put apostrophe because that's a habit, but honestly, the default measurement of the architectural unit that you chose is inches. And so if I just use 5 and hit enter, it automatically means 5 inches. CAD is smart enough to understand that. You can put a quotation, which is a double apostrophe, right next to it, and that's fine too. I'm just in a habit of doing it because old CAD didn't do it that way, but we're new CAD and it works beautifully this way. So hit enter. And now you'll see that your cursor totally changed to this little selection box. It says select object to offset. So I'm going to kind of hover and you'll see how it highlights the line. So it says, okay, is that the line that you want? Yes, it is. Click. And then move your cursor to the left and to the right. And you'll see that it's trying to create a copy about 5 inches away from that object. Now the 10 foot by 10 foot room is always measured from the inside. So when you offset a wall to show its thickness, always go to the outside. So we're on the outside, just hit click anywhere. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you're on the left side. And then you've placed your wall. Notice that your cursor still says select object to offset. So like any command in AutoCAD, you will continue to do that command until you tell AutoCAD to stop by hitting the escape, the enter, or the space bar on your keyboard, or right-clicking and hitting enter or cancel. So we can continue to offset because all of these walls are interior walls. I'm going to click. See how I highlight it first? Highlight, click, offset to the outside. Highlight, click, highlight to the outside. Offset to the outside. I'm getting you really confused now. Highlight, click, and position your cursor on the side that you want that object to offset. So always go to the outside when you're doing an interior floor plan view. Alright, I'm going to hit escape to end that command and my cursor goes back to normal. And now I'm good to go. So we have offset some of our walls 5 inches apart. Awesome. Now you will notice that the lines do not connect, and it is super important that they show connected at all times. It's really bad manners to let gaps show in your CAD drafting, so think of it in one of two ways. Pretend that you want to fill all walls with water. You don't want it to leak, so you have to make sure that there's no areas where that wall is going to leak. My personal favorite analogy is we don't want the spider kids living with their little spider families inside of these walls to be able to escape and go play out in the street, right? We have to keep them safe. So we have to make sure that all these gaps are closed. And here is a super easy trick to do that. I use the Fillet command in instances like this. Fillet is located in the Modify panel, kind of catty corner from Offset. So if you click on Fillet, select the first object it says, and then select the second object. And it will automatically connect those two lines together. Fillet is kind of a dumb command in the sense that it doesn't continue to keep going once you've kind of completed the command. Hit the space bar one more time and it will automatically go right back into the last command you had activated. So again, select your first object, select your second object, and it puts it together perfectly. Space bar. Now notice if you try to go too far back on these lines, it doesn't, well, okay, now it's working. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to be close to the gap that you're trying to fill. So just make sure that you're paying attention. And what I like about the Fillet command, when I hit spacebar and I select the first object, I'm just hovering over the second object and it shows what it's about to do. So I could actually fillet it to this object, but I don't want to. I want it to go to this one. Now the Fillet command is currently set at a degree of 0, and what a fillet does is it curves corners. So there is a way to tell Fillet to actually curve the corner instead of making it a perfect 90-degree angle. We'll get into that in another video. But for now, just know that if you want to easily connect your walls to each other, the Fillet command set at 0 will do that for you very quickly and easily. Otherwise, it's kind of a long, drawn-out process, and our goal in AutoCAD is to always draw as quickly and efficiently as possible.